When we get to the 90s of it all, they have their own problems. They have bosses, not just gods, but like intermediary angels, and they have project management. You know, it resembles like the dynamics of our lives.
Back in the 1990s, it seemed like angels were everywhere in popular culture. They were helping baseball teams win and falling in love with mortals in movies, offering divine messages in TV shows, appearing as figurines in living room hutches, and songs featuring them were making us all very sad about neglected pets in ASPCA commercials. Our guest today is Christine Laskowski, who you will remember from our episode on the history of goths. She's a video journalist and host of the podcast T&J, a Roman Empire love story, a limited series about 6th century Byzantium and the relationship between Empress Theodora and her husband, the Emperor Justinian. For this episode, she'll teach me about the history of angels, going all the way back to the Old Testament, and their subsequent transformations through the centuries since. And then we'll look at the craze of the 90s to figure out why these heavenly beings came down to Earth so frequently during that particular decade, and why they touched so many of us, whether we were believers or not. I'm your host, Chelsey Weber-Smith, and this is American Hysteria. I am so excited for this one. This is a topic that I have wanted to talk about, to cover for a really long time. And I just feel like you, Christine, are the perfect person, our former goth correspondent, to bring us the light this time, the alleged light. So welcome back to the show.
Thank you so much, Chelsey. It is my absolute honor to be back.
So, yeah, it's fun that you're kind of coming back with like a cultural opposite. This is going to be really great. We are talking today about the 90s angel craze.
Indeed, it was a craze. And yeah, it's funny that the tie-in for the goths was also this 90s pop culture phenomenon in which, you know, you had like the resurgence of Wednesday Addams and sort of like a witchier goth and Fairuza Balk and The Craft. And so, yeah, I mean, 90s, I'm an older millennial. It's my childhood, you know,
So is there like one particular, I'm sure we'll get into it more, but is there one particular thing that got you thinking? Because I mean, you came to me with this idea of doing the 90s angel craze. I've also wanted to do this exact thing. And I was wondering if there was one little story or whatever hooked you during the goth research. Like, what was it that made you want to bring this to me?
That is a great question. What made me want to bring this to you actually came from my eunuchs episode, which I call Raised in the Shade, which was an epithet for eunuchs because they were castrated men. And one of the ways that Byzantines, Romans in late antiquity would refer to them were, you know, like, oh, he was raised in the shade. And that was a way to imply that a person was a eunuch.
Interesting.
And the reason I bring that up is you're like, what is the connection between eunuchs and angels?
Well, and for anyone who doesn't know, that's another place of research.
That's a whole other place of research. But, you know, my podcast, my limited series podcast, T&J, a Roman Empire love story, which is all about 6th century Byzantium, the connection between eunuchs and angels in the Byzantine imagination was really, really strong.
Interesting.
And so that's actually what got me thinking about angels in this way. And then I started thinking about my childhood and how, you know, I was raised in like a very Catholic household, but it was in the South. And my mom was like an evangelical Catholic, which I didn't know was its own kind of thing until I met other Catholics from other places. And they're like, your Catholicism is totally weird.
I didn't know that either.
You know, when I was a kid, I just remember my mom like really being just hooked line and sinker with this angel stuff. And I can go into it, but it sort of made me think like, okay, I loved being on American Hysteria. Maybe this is my second way in.
And it was perfect. I mean, and something I like so much about you is that you do have these just kind of extremely varied interests that you're so deeply excited about. And I can really relate to that. So I'm really excited to kind of hear what you've got for us today. So I think I'll let you just take it away and I'll be along for the ride.
All right.
On the wings of your back.
The wings of my back.
Okay.
Yes.
That's weird.
As Sarah McLachlan said, in the arms of the angel.
Exactly. Yeah, that's better.
We'll get to our Canadian queen later. Yes. Okay. I would say to kick this off, I have to acknowledge that, you've thought of this before. I'm not trying to say that this is necessarily a unique idea, but I just sort of want you to join me on a little journey. I am aware of this clip because of my friend Caitlin, who was a huge fan of the podcast of American Hysteria. Okay. So she will be like completely jazzed that I'm mentioning her.
Shout out to
Caitlin. But she flagged this clip to me and was like, oh, looks like some other people are thinking about this too.
Oh, I was meaning to ask you this. So it's interesting. Movies in the 80s didn't have as much of an influence on me, but movies in the 90s did.
Mm-hmm.
And I noticed there was this thing
90s, me too.
with movies in the 90s, that there was this obsession with angels.
Uh-huh.
And ghosts, the supernatural.
Michael.
You had Ghost, 1990, Patrick Swayze. Angels in the Outfield.
Yeah, seen that movie.
Kevin Costner, Field of Dreams.
Field of Dreams.
Baseball
Literally
angel
like
movies.
the ghosts of...
I always try and figure out why these trends
The
happen.
Prophecy, The Preacher's Wife. Denzel Washington is literally an angel.
Have you seen Fallen?
No.
Fallen is another like horror movie with an angel.
City of Angels, Nicolas Cage.
City of Angels.
What Dreams May Come, Robin Williams.
I just saw What Dreams May Come recently to like research for a part.
Awesome.
I think I did not even a terrible job of introducing that. I didn't introduce it, but it's essentially a clip from Hassan Minhaj with Kumail Nanjiani as his guest. And just one of these like mini conversations that Hassan Minhaj introduces is the same idea, right? Like
totally.
There was this thing happening in the 90s where it just seemed like every other movie was about angels.
Yeah. And that was a great list too. And now before we go on, I must just I'm going to name a couple other angel things, right?
Oh, go for it.
Just to get us in the mood.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I know you may go through some of these, but
I have a whole Google Doc. Yeah.
What comes immediately to mind is, girl, you're my angel. You're my
darling angel.
It's such a good song.
The older one was like, don't call me angel of the morning.
Yeah, that too.
I could do it in the higher one. But the other one's a remake, right?
Yeah, the other one's Shaggy.
Yeah, the other one's Shaggy. Shit. Yeah.
And then I also think of Precious Moments dolls. Do you remember those?
No.
Little figurines.
Oh, yeah.
They're like little children and people were obsessed with them.
Yes. They were like the Hallmark equivalent of like a troll. Like if you couldn't, you know what I mean?
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And they were like cute, but like I didn't think that they were particularly cute, but there was such a craze around those.
No, I know exactly what you're talking about. Yes.
And they weren't all angels, but a lot of them were angels. Those definitely come to mind. Are there any other things that like jumped to your mind in the very beginning of this?
Not so much outside of like, honestly, my own personal experience just as a kid.
Yeah.
I grew up in like a very religious household. My mom was very, very religious, and so was our immediate family.
Yeah.
And like from a very early age, honestly, like I never really bought into it, but like
that doesn't surprise me. Yeah.
Angels was like the one thing, learning about guardian angels, and like I just remember as all this sort of, again, kind of hysteria happening over it, at least within like my household and my community.
Yeah.
It's the one time I remember sort of like hallucinating myself into like seeing a guardian angel, like when I was 8.
Ooh.
You know?
So you had a little angel vision.
I had a little angel vision. Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
And it's so funny because it's like, I thought, I worked really hard to like figure out their name, and it was Justine, and I was like, and I just remember
Justine,
which is really funny because it sounds like my name.
Wow.
Like, not even working that hard.
It's like the Christine of Justice. Yeah.
It's the Christine of Justice up above, coming down, to like stand on my like I had a chest of drawers next to my bed. And I remember similarly to like, you know, it was like a troll-sized little glowy thing that like I sort of imagined was there.
Oh, it was little?
It was little.
Wow. I was picturing full size. Yeah.
No, definitely. No. Because I mean, that was like the size that my tiny imagination could hallucinate.
The figurines were too.
Yeah, like troll, precious moments, doll sized, you know? And I just remember it seeming real, but not sure, but still too scared to go to the bathroom. It was a very like long and fitful night.
So it was scary.
It was a little scary.
Okay. Yeah.
But then I remember the next morning, like being really excited to tell my mom because like she had told me that our cousin in San Diego had seen, you know, it was like this angel competition.
Yeah. You're like, well, my cool cousin from California saw it. I gotta get one.
Peter told Aunt Susie that he saw like 3 of them flying overhead in the backyard. And it's like, well, I can show them. And so I remember the next morning, like before school, telling her and her like not being that impressed by it.
Yeah. When you were like, oh,
I was like, I didn't sleep all night or go to the bathroom for that. No, but you know what? I have this memory where like I really didn't buy into like a lot of the like all of the religious stuff. Like I was always pretty doubtful. But this is like the one time I was really like trying, like kind of swept up in it a little bit.
Yeah. But you were like experiencing it versus me who was just like consuming the media of people that were maybe experiencing it or would like to experience it. So we have kind of fun, different perspectives on this craze. So I think this will be great.
Yeah. And I, you know, because what I didn't get because of the household I was in was I was really cut off from just being able to watch scary movies and ghost stories and things, you know, like the art and the music and the movies that I could watch was like really heavily regulated by my mom.
Sure. Yeah.
And as I got older, I sort of realized like, oh, wow, these sorts of stories serve a similar sort of function, right?
Yeah.
Like it was like a permissible thing. And, you know, I'll get into it a little bit more, but like the thing that, well, I might as well get into it now. Like the thing that really kicked it all off for my mom. And I remember watching it on TV. I don't know if it was like Sally Jesse, Raphael, or one of those daytime talk shows, but there was this woman on named Joan Wester Anderson promoting this book called Where Angels Walk: True Stories of Heavenly Visitors.
Wow.
And this came out in 1992.
It's very Chicken Soup for the Soul coded.
Absolutely. And I love how all of these angel stories have true in the subtitle, you know, like.
Yeah, absolutely. Don't get it twisted.
Don't get it twisted, y'all. And I remember my mom back in those days, just, you know, there was no Amazon, obviously. So I think like after the show ended, we got in the car and we went to Barnes and Noble or Borders or something and picked up this, like, or whatever. Like, I felt like it was immediate.
It was like in The Simpsons when he drives away really fast and you can hear the car in the background screeching away.
Yeah. Only I wasn't able to watch The Simpsons. I mean, I caught up later, but it just to set a scene.
Yes. You had to get that book in your mitts ASAP.
Yeah, my mom needed that book immediately and she got it. And I just remember, it was like a coffee table book and, you know, reading it when I was younger, her reading it. And I felt the same way when I reread it for this episode, is that they really serve, you know, it's very kind of ghost story-esque, like all this sort of all the situations or things where like could have been a person or it fits the structure of a ghost story. Only, you know, if you come from a certain belief system, like my mom, these are the acceptable ones.
Well, and you know what that's making me think of is we did that series on chick tracts like a million years ago, and it was like, for anyone who doesn't remember, those were those little pocket-sized tracts, the little kind of pamphlets that were kind of mini comics about, you know, all the creative ways in which you're going to hell.
Oh, yeah.
And I just remember so many people wrote in after those episodes being like, I was so sheltered through, you know, my religion that this served for me, like, to fulfill my desire for horror content. So it's like angels are kind of fulfilling your desire for paranormal content in an accessible way that you're like allowed to experience. And I hadn't thought about that as angels kind of being that proxy. That's really interesting.
Yeah, no, they truly were until I finally...
Until you broke free.
until I broke free. I was thinking a bit, I mean, I don't know, like, did you grow up religious at all, or like...
No, here, I'll hit everyone with a story.
Oh, great.
So I think that this would be my best guardian angel related story. And it's a story from my dad, who famously has had many fascinating accidents happen to him in his life. We are both very accident prone and have had many strange injuries, but he was out hunting. He was a bow hunter and he had a pistol at his side, and he was way out in the woods in his pickup truck, just way out there, really far away from actual people.
Mm-hmm.
And when he was getting in the car, his gun discharged.
Oh, God.
And it went right into his thigh. So he's immediately bleeding out, like, you know, gory scene. He like takes off his sock, wraps it around his leg.
Yeah, tourniquet.
He's driving as, you know, fast as he can down this like very bumpy dirt road. And then he's just like trying to stay conscious, and it's just like pooling blood, and he's about to pass out. He's like in his head, he's like, this is it, you know, this is it for me. And right at that moment, a man, you know, it was like one of those roads. It was like a dirt road and just like trees on either side. And a man just walked out in front of his car just from the woods in this totally random place and stopped the car. My dad remembers him getting in the car, then he passes out, and then he wakes up in the hospital and he's like, where's the guy? And they're like, he just dropped you off and left the keys at the front. And then my dad never found out who it was. And so he always kind of felt that there was a supernatural kind of guardian angel aspect to that. And I mean, it's a wild story, you know?
No, exactly. And I feel like the Joan Wester Anderson book, it's all of those. And I mean, if you've watched Unsolved Mysteries, like, they feature, those kinds of stories feature as well, where it's like, wow, it just doesn't make sense why someone wouldn't leave a name or contact information,
right.
Or like, yeah, where did they come from? It's just completely inexplicable, and the timing, or like they didn't leave footprints, or their car left no tire tracks. And you know what I mean?
Because that's kind of the key, is there was no trace of them left, right? Or maybe there was like some mystical trace left that enhances the story.
That's wild.
It is. Yeah, it's a wild story. That was really my main angel context, is that story, and just, again, the stories I heard in popular culture. But guardian angels never really like resonated with me. I was all about the ghosts. So
yeah, I tried. I would get some ghost stuff at daycare. Like, daycare was where, you know, I could listen to Melissa Etheridge and get ghost stories.
Oh, thank God for daycare.
Thank God for daycare, man.
More after this. And now, back to the show.
Yeah, I mean, I think maybe a good way to start would be like, what is an angel and where do they come from? You know, like, there's a lot of territory to cover before the 90s.
There's so much territory to cover, I know.
I'll try not to get too bogged down in the details, but you can always cut me off and be like, Christine, that's a little bit too esoteric. We got to move on.
That's true. That's true. I will.
Because that is my tendency. But yeah, I think what I would like to do is start and go way back to 3000 BC.
All right. I love that.
I have a friend named Zophis, who's an Assyriologist and translator of Babylonian literature into English.
Oh my God, cool.
And he was telling me that like the etymology or root of the word in Akkadian, which is like the Assyrian language,
sure,
is milku. And milku in Akkadian means advice.
Oh.
So milku is our sort of origin word. And that evolves to become malaika in Arabic, or malach in Hebrew. And that word, malaika and malach, is the word for messenger, but the origin, basically malaika and malach, Arabic, Hebrew, is a word that derives its meaning from messenger and comes to mean angel, because angels are messengers of God.
Like an advice messenger. Yeah.
Well, it's not even originally advice.
Okay.
What we have to remember is that we are living in a time where sending messages has never been faster or easier, and how for the vast majority of human history, sending a message was difficult as fuck and took forever, was really expensive for most people, might not even get there, and mostly was delivered by people. You have some exceptions. You have West African drum talk where you could communicate pretty sophisticated messages through drums, or you even had the Byzantine beacon system, in the 8th, 9th centuries, where you could light fires at certain times of day.
Yeah.
And that could communicate things. But for the most part, you told a human something that would convey it over long distances, or when you had written language, you would write it and then a human would take it and convey it long distances.
Right.
Maybe they would make it, maybe they won't. It was very expensive and time consuming and quite unreliable. But I think at its core, it makes sense that angels were messengers because that's how messengers were conveyed, through a human transmitter, ultimately.
A human form. Yeah.
Right? So that's why God would do that, but God could do it hella fucking fast.
I know, right?
Faster than any of us.
I know.
From the celestial realm. That's how godly he was.
Apparently he loves to intervene and not intervene, and there is no rhyme or reason to whether we have free will or not.
Exactly that. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's you get that person delivering it to you, and that information could be so many emotional things too. It could be so many things that enhance almost the character of the person that's delivering it as this messenger of something big in your life.
Yes. And we'll get to that because God definitely delivers some big messages through angels. But yeah, so, okay. The root of the word in Akkadian, milku, which means advice, evolves to mean in Arabic, malaika, malak in Hebrew, means messenger. In Greek, the term for angel, angelos, also originally means messenger in Greek. So all of these ancient languages, the word for messenger comes to mean angel because angels were messenger. Even evangelos, the word that now means evangelize, evangelical.
You're spreading the message.
Comes from the Greek bringer of good news, spreading the message. Exactly. So if we're going all the way back to Akkadian, which is very, very far back, it is the world's oldest written Semitic language and was spoken by Assyrians and Babylonians in ancient Mesopotamia. So that's where we're sort of settling in here. Mesopotamia, that is the region between the two rivers, the Tigris and the Euphrates. It's mostly modern day Iraq, some other bits. Now, the reason I bring this up is because angels are really just unique features of the three Abrahamic religions: Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. Judaism was the first, and it's how we all get started with angels, through Christianity and through Islam.
Sure.
So what is your sort of knowledge of Jewish scripture, the Bible, different texts and books and...
Well...
Yeah, maybe that's my answer.
No, it's funny you ask, though, because for the last few months, I have been reading the Bible.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I'm about 55% done.
Damn.
Well, I've been listening to the Bible on tape. But yeah, just the New International Version. So I am, I'm through Job. I'm through, I'm trying to think of where I left off. But so I'm vaguely familiar. How much of it I've remembered and synthesized will be another story altogether. But that's where I'm at currently. Yeah.
You have unintentionally prepared for this episode.
I didn't mean to.
Yeah. And read more of the Bible than me. I mean, this is sort of very stereotypical Catholic. We just don't know our Bibles at all. I grew up in the South.
Well, it's nuts.
I grew up in Memphis. And so anytime something would come up, there'd be some sort of biblical debate. There'd just be some Baptist kid who would be able to recite John. And I'd be
right.
Enjoy your Chick-fil-A sandwich. I can't say anything to that. I don't know.
Yeah.
In fact, the only book of the Bible I've actually ever read all the way through was Genesis, but that was because R. Crumb illustrated it, and I bought R. Crumb's Genesis. God. Thank you, R. Crumb. That's the only.
That's so great. No, I'm kind of a Bible nerd, and I have always been like a biblical history nerd. Not that, again, I know how much I've retained, but yeah, I'm so interested in it as a building block of the culture that I study, because it's, I don't know, it's pretty important to the history of this country.
No, that's fair. Yeah. American hysteria is rooted in the Bible.
No, and that's just my like for fun reading right now is the Bible.
Hey,
it's been wild, dude. It is a wild ride.
It's a wild ride.
Every time I take my headphones off after listening and I'm walking with Miranda, she lets me give her like, here's what happened in the Bible through my like bitchy gay voice,
Yes.
Like, and then he did this and I couldn't believe it. And then God was so mean,
Oh no, God was real mean.
It's mostly the Bible is God was so mean. Yeah.
God was so mean, especially Old Testament. Okay, yes, this is a great start. So let's start with the Torah.
Okay.
Torah is the central book and religious source of Judaism. And, it was revealed by God to Moses on Mount Sinai, burning bush, etc.
Mm-hmm.
It comprises the first 5 books of what we can think of as the Hebrew Bible, which is Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy.
Mm-hmm.
So 5. And then you have what's called the Tanakh, which is the Hebrew Bible, and it includes the Torah, but it also has a bunch of additional books. So those attributed to prophets like Isaiah, Jeremiah, Ezekiel, and then you have other narratives, Psalms, Proverbs, Job, which is where you're at. And then
I've read them all so far.
Okay, so it looks like you're like up through the Tanakh.
Yeah.
And then of course, like people may be familiar with the Talmud, which alongside the Torah is like a very important sort of compendium or like textbook of Judaism, and it like contains rabbinic writings that interpret the Torah. And angels feature in all of these. But this sort of like the Tanakh, I would say, like forms the foundation. Like when we think of the Old Testament as part of, if you're a Christian, that serves as the Old Testament, and then, New Testament, different collection of books between Catholics and Protestants. The Catholic Bible has a few more. I'm not going to get into it. But let's just say like the foundational text, the Hebrew Bible or the Tanakh, which includes the Torah, has angels. And that's why Christianity has angels. And that's why the Quran also has angels.
They had staying power. Yeah.
Had some real staying power. But what I think is really important to talk about is like, there's a real shift in the role and presentation and function of angels. There's before the Babylonian exile and after the Babylonian exile.
This is so you. Yeah. That line is just where you live.
It's just where I live. Yeah. It was just a real defining event for the Jewish people.
Of course. Yeah.
But also for our purposes, angels.
Yeah.
That's why we're here. On our way to the 1990s, eventually.
Here we go. Everybody get in.
Okay.
I mean, you got to start at that I started the beginning. You got to start at the beginning.
Yeah, like God and the creation. Okay, so Babylonian exile, it was, depending on who you ask, different periods of time. I'm not going to go into it. Either 48 years, 59 years, I don't know. But like, essentially, the Jewish people were held in Babylon. Their temple, their sacred first temple of Jerusalem, Solomon's temple, was destroyed. It was built to house the Ark of the Covenant, which was this fancy gold religious storage chest that held the original 10 commandments. But that was all destroyed. And then they were captured and they were brought to Babylon. And they were there for several decades before they were allowed to finally return to Jerusalem in 538 BCE.
Very good. I will say that the part of the Bible that describes how God wants the Ark of the Covenant to be made is wild. It goes on in every little detail, just like put a golden cherub here, like this needs to be 3 cubits here. And it's like so much detail. And then later it says it all over again in a different book. And it just like was kind of maddening to me.
I mean, why not? Make sure they get the dimensions right. But that's an interesting point, right? Because one of the things that it too notes is that Like in the Book of Kings, it talks about in the sanctuary, Solomon placed 2 cherubim, each 10 cubits high, 10 cubit wingspans. That's like 20 feet by 20 feet. So quite large. And they had wings that outstretched so that like one of them had the wingtip touch the wall and then the other wingtip touched the other way, so basically they were just like double wingspanning this wall in the sanctuary of the first temple of Jerusalem.
It's pretty badass. Yeah.
Now, we don't know like what they looked like. All we know is that, it's a cherubim.
Yeah.
And by this point in the Bible, again, like before Babylonian exile, angels were this anonymous heavenly army, like the only sort of distinct kind that was noted at all was in Genesis, where they talk about cherubim, and they were assigned the task of keeping the very first human beings from returning to the Garden of Eden after they were exiled for disobeying God and eating from the tree of knowledge. So like in Genesis, you have after he drove man out, he placed on the east side of the Garden of Eden cherubim and a flaming sword flashing back and forth to guard the way to the tree of life.
Interesting. Yeah.
So cherubim, guardians, not super distinct. But then you have in the first temple, some people speculate that maybe they resembled what are called shedu, or like the winged bulls of the Assyrians. You might have seen those before, or like maybe it's something sphinx-like or griffin-like. We don't know what the first temple cherubim that are talked about looked like. Could have looked like that, but it touches on this idea that like there's this role of angels at this point that were sort of these like anonymous guards or guardians, and like there are other ancient creatures at this time that shared this role that also had wings. So kind of keep that in mind.
And it's so interesting that it may have been an animal over a human form, right?
Oh, yeah, totally. For a while.
That makes sense to me as a huge nerd, because Reza Aslan wrote this really cool book about the history of God. And when we, as like, as a species, basically like moved from worshiping animals into worshiping more human-like forms. And so I think it makes sense that in the Bible, like it's really bad for you to worship like this golden calf, right? You don't want to be worshiping an animal because that is like the paganism you're trying to move away from. And so it would make sense that like they're just not quite there yet, right? Like they're transitioning slowly from animal to human form for the divine. And I think that's very interesting.
Yeah, I think that makes total sense, especially for the time and place. But then we get to after Babylonian exile, and, there are a lot of things that like during this period and during this captivity, like really sort of altered or codified certain traditions and norms within Jewish culture that didn't really exist before. So like, for instance, afterward, like synagogues were first established. Like they always had the temple, the central temple in the house, but then this idea that you would have like smaller sort of meeting places and not one central thing that could like be destroyed and then sort of like destroy your nucleus as a, you know what I'm saying? So that became established. I've read that like the practice of circumcision and, just different things like became a part of like Jewish religious practice afterward. Another thing too that becomes apparent is that like ideas about angels began to really evolve in very new ways. And some speculate that this kind of came from exposure to Zoroastrianism. You have 7 archangels. I'm not going to name all of them, but their names all end in EL. Let's just put it that way. Gabriel, Michael, Raphael, Uriel, blah, blah, blah. And there's 7 rankings. So we start to see like, oh, not only do we have these archangels, but then we have different rankings, striations of angels. Some say that that could have possibly been taken from like what in Zoroastrianism are called amisha spentas, or like divine sparks that like correspond to the 7 days of the month of the Zoroastrian calendar, etc. Even like the notion of a guardian angel, some say could have been influenced by like guardian spirits that are part of the Zoroastrian belief. Those are known as Fravashis. So like there's this idea that, oh, after Babylonian exile, like there are these specificities and these like number 7 connections and things that who knows, but the sort of speculation as to why angels begin to have so much more specificity after the Babylonian exile can be connected, some speculate, to like this exposure to Zoroastrianism and like Zoroastrian practice.
Yeah, it makes sense for sure. It's all just this melting pot of stuff at that time where people
it's all just melting, you get exposed to some new ideas.
Yep.
Like you might not have been happy, but you learn some things.
Definitely.
Yeah. So like, for instance, the book of Daniel, like that's one that came, like it's one of the later books of the Hebrew Bible or the Tanakh. And, that's like specifically about Babylonian exile because Daniel is essentially like, if you're familiar with the story at all, like thrown into the lion's den and is visited and saved by angels and then prophesizes to the king and
exactly.
blah, blah, blah. I'm not going to get into it, but the idea is that like, it's in the book of Daniel that like we start getting names like Gabriel and Michael, and like right. Gabriel is this herald who like announces the good news and reveals these hidden plans of God. And then like Michael is like this warrior. So, we start to get names and a bit of specificity and some like real character around them.
Yeah.
Because like before, one of the big examples of like angels visiting, delivering messages in the Old Testament is like when angels come to visit Abraham and Sarah and convey this message that, Sarah is going to become pregnant, and they kind of laugh and don't believe it because she's an elderly woman, blah, blah, blah. But it ends up she becomes pregnant. And then that's how this sort of like lineage to the 12 tribes of Israel develops. But like those angels were just 3 dudes or like male presenting visitors without names,
Thanks for making sure we don't miss the angels of the Bible.
But that's kind of important actually, because like they're male presenting for a very, very, very long time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like they eventually become slightly androgynous, but it's like not until like the last 100, 200 years that like they start to be women.
Sure.
Like one theory is that like as angels became less valued in society or less important or less central, like, then
let the women folk do it.
Yeah, no, exactly. It's like then they acquire feminine characteristics.
Right. And before we move on, do you have anything to say about, it's become a meme now, but the biblically accurate angel? Because we're talking about like the form of the angel, but then we also have like how angels were described like early on. And like, do you know what I'm talking about?
Oh, yeah. I don't know like the trend or whatever, but I know like I have one from the book of Daniel where he like talks about his like first encounter with.
Yeah. Do you have that?
Yeah, I can read it.
Hit me. Yeah.
Okay. So in Cyrus's 3rd year as king of Persia, a message was revealed to Daniel, who had been renamed Balthazar. And then it goes into Daniel's POV. When I looked up, I saw a man dressed in linen, and he had a belt made of gold from Uphaz around his waist. His body was like beryl, like the gemstone. His face looked like lightning.
Whoa.
His eyes were like flaming torches. His arms and legs looked like polished bronze. When he spoke, his voice sounded like the roar of a crowd.
Okay. That's cool.
I mean, it's like maybe not as insane as like, I don't know, 4 heads or multiple wings, or I don't know what you're referring to.
I think part of the reason I'm reading the Bible is because I went to poetry school, and it's like so many amazing images and lines. So you're just like, this is gorgeous, surrounded by so much boring violence. And then there are just these moments that are so beautiful. But yeah, there are descriptions that somewhere, I think it says it's in Ezekiel and the book of Revelation, which, we're going to do a whole episode about like book of Revelation one day.
Yes.
But yeah, it's like they are covered in eyes. And that's so scary.
That's terrifying.
That's really scary. And I think that's like the pictures we get of the biblically accurate angel. That's just like wings and eyes. And it's like so awful looking. But, they were beings of intimidation as well as like, it seems like they were like, they were there to also be kind of scary and to kind of like instill the fear of God back into people. Cause that's kind of the whole thing is like, you got to be scared of God. That's important.
Yeah. Shock you into submission. So you will like shut the fuck up and listen to what they have to say.
Yeah. Listen up. Yeah. I see you, bitch.
I see you.
But anyway, all right. So you take it back to, we were talking about dudes turning into lady angels.
Oh yeah, because women are so undervalued that when angels became less valuable, it was like, yeah, the natural progression or whatever. Anyway, yeah, sure. Which I can get to a bit more later, but yeah, for a very long time, they're all presenting as male, just if people were wondering. Sure. So Book of Daniel, like essentially Gabriel comes with the message like, hey, I know you're enslaved here. They changed your name, but don't worry. I got your back. You're highly respected. We're going to help you. And then they do. And it's great. So messenger, helper. In the New Testament, we have angels and it's primarily Gabriel. Like Gabriel is like, I don't know what the equivalent would be, but just he's not really sharing a lot of the duties, the messaging duties with any of the other archangels. I don't know what they're up to, but like, he's the one that announces John the Baptist's birth. And then also very famously is the one that goes to Mary and tells her that she's going to give birth to Jesus. So these are all messages conveyed by God via the angel Gabriel. And also Gabriel, or in Arabic, Jibril, is like a really important angel in Islam because he is the angel of prophecy to Muhammad. Like he launches the whole thing. He goes to Muhammad when he's in Mount Hydra, like doing his meditative thing and like essentially reveals to Muhammad, like commands him to read.
Yeah.
That's like the first word. I love that so much. Like just read,
Yeah. Just read a book.
Yeah, Muhammad was illiterate at the time. It was like, how can I? And then, essentially Islam, like Muslims believe that the contents of the Quran are revelations that Muhammad received from the angel Gabriel over the course of 22 years.
Yeah, I mean, that's a pretty important figure, I'd say, then.
Pretty important message, pretty important figure. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So Gabriel, kind of, VIP angel.
Yeah.
Across the Abrahamic religions, but essentially important to Islam.
Sure.
But I also think it's kind of important to sort of continue this as well, like in terms of angels as messengers revealing prophecy. There's kind of an important one in the United States. Do you know who I'm thinking of?
Oh, American prophet. Oh, of course. Joseph Smith.
Who received a message from an angel? Yes.
Joseph Smith. Yep.
In 1823, an angel.
Our Mormon daddy.
An angel named Moroni appeared to Joseph Smith in upstate New York and told him of the existence.
Of course.
I love that. It's so good.
They only go upstate.
I didn't need to include it, but then I needed to include that. And told him of the existence of an ancient record engraved on plates buried in a hill near his home. And that's how we got the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. So...
yeah. And I mean, again, these are the guys that are like starting all of the most influential movements, in our world, really, or like at least in the Western world. Yeah.
Getting messages from angels sent by God.
Yeah.
Now, what's interesting, though, is like Joseph Smith's kind of an outlier. I mean, I consider Mormonism like Protestant, some people, but like, I think overall, though, if you think about this sort of like Catholic Protestant schism, like the Protestants just like, less like weren't as so into angels as the intermediaries. Like their whole vibe was like, I want to connect with God directly. Like I don't really need priests or anybody else. So like,
right, I don't need this intermediary.
Not that they were hating, but it wasn't their thing.
It's a little bit more of the, the mysticism that Catholicism's a little more prone to.
Yeah. So like angels are just sort of part of that potpourri, I guess.
Yeah. I would need the extras if I was going to go. If I was going to go to the Christian way. Yeah. I need all the little gimmicks. I need all the little rituals.
Oh, yeah. Oh, stuff. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I need my angels.
They got you. They definitely got you.
We'll see.
Yeah. I mean, I had enough, but I'm like, I got to experience it.
Yeah. You had your little mini angel.
I had my little mini angel, Justine.
So cute.
It's so embarrassing.
No, it's not. Have you ever seen, it's like one of my, it's sad, I guess, but it's one of my most favorite YouTube videos of all time. And it's the one where the little girl gets, I don't know if it's a Barbie or like a Barbie knockoff or just like a different toy. It's almost like one of those toys you get at Disneyland from someone hawking them just on the street. But it was like you pulled a string and it would like spin around really fast and kind of fly, and it had wings. And then it just immediately, like, the girl's so excited. She does it in the living room and it just flies immediately into the fire. Like,
oh my God.
Just on fire.
Oh,
Do you remember this? No, I don't know. That's what I'm picturing for your mini angel.
I don't know if I've seen it, but like you described it so well, I can totally imagine it. But no, I don't think I saw that one.
That's like the little thing I'm picturing, not necessarily flying into the fire, but that's when you're talking to me about your angel. All I can picture is that little spinny toy.
My 8-year-old heart flew into the fire, metaphorically. That's for sure.
Anyway,
but no, I think this is a good segue into representation, right? Because I think also when we talk about angels, back to our original conversation about the Precious Moments dolls and just sort of how they're presented in contemporary popular culture and how that's evolved over time.
But like the cliches became, Yeah,
I mean, I think what's interesting is that back to the first temple of Jerusalem, we had cherubim that had wings. We know that because of their cubit size. But what I think is interesting is that it's not really until the 4th century AD when we get human-looking angels that they are depicted with wings or described. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, I do.
They would appear and as human-like, male presenting, and there would be these like different signifiers as far as how they looked or whether or not they ate. Like in Islam, when there's the retelling of Abraham and these 3 angels, like the real kicker is they invite them in and try and offer them food, and the 3 men don't eat. And it's like in the ancient world, no one did that. So it's like they must be angels.
Yeah.
It's just not part of their, celestial constitutions or whatever. But yeah, it's not until really the 4th century AD that these human-like angels are starting to be depicted with wings. And of course, this is like influenced by pagan images, that of the goddess Nike, the god Eros. Yeah, and then halos as well were also taken from pagan culture, from ancient Greece and Rome. And, in pagan culture, halos were used to designate like the godliness of a god. So that was like an easy thing to like yoink.
Totally. Yeah, easy.
And then you also start to get the introduction of like music being associated with them, right?
Like the trumpet. Yeah.
Because angels are messengers. Like the trumpet was also associated with the herald, right? In antiquity, you had someone who would like announce the news, and primarily like the word of the empire, whether it was in the gladiatorial arena or the hippodrome, and they would get everyone's attention through a horn. So like that connection seems very obvious, right? Like messengers, horns. I think what's funny is like the harp, as far as like angel instruments, doesn't come into like way later. That's like a very modern assignation, but the horn, yes, that starts to appear.
Well, and like the harp, of course, I can hear the harp sound in like 90s pop culture that is like showing you that there is some sort of angelic thing happening. Maybe Miranda, you could just pop it in real quick. So yeah, I mean, there it is, right?
There it is.
It's so interesting to see these things carry through.
Oh, totally.
When did you say the harp appeared?
Not until later, like maybe, I don't know, 200 years ago. It's like very recently.
Okay, yeah. So this is another kind of almost Victorian era invention.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
And then, in the 18th century, again, that's pre-Victorian era, but like, we're talking about late Renaissance, Rococo, Baroque style art and representations of the fat-faced baby Cupid version of angels that become very popular.
Yeah.
In Italian, they're known as putti, which sounds just, I don't know, dirty. And
it does. But yeah, it's interesting that babies would be angels. It's like, what does this baby have to say to me?
Right?
Yeah. What do I have to take care of this baby now?
Yeah, but they're sort of like message helping, right? Is like love and you know what I mean? It's like kind of mischief, but it's love. So it's like, you know, it's still sort of playing this role. And I mean, I don't know like where the baby comes from. I know that the Renaissance was all about just like looking back to when things were properly done in antiquity. So it's like, you know, drawing from Bacchus and, you know, Eros and things like that, and kind of just like coming up with their own version. But still, it's like, yeah, if your job is to bring people together in love, there is like a lot of mischief and a message in that. So I don't know. I feel like it checks.
And what's easier to love? We're biologically like forced to love a baby most of the time. So it makes sense.
That's true. You know, they're really not threatening, especially, you know, if they're like flying around and chubby and they have like a love arrow, like you're not going to be quite so threatened by the arrow.
Yeah, it's a defanging.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very much a defanging of the angels. Like, just give us this roly-poly little flying baby.
That's true. Very clever. Yeah. Those Italians, those Renaissance, they know what they're doing, those Renaissance Italians.
More after this. And now back to the show.
So, like I mentioned earlier, also presenting as male, those cherubs, they had little baby penis.
Mm-hmm. Of course.
So yeah, like during the Renaissance, there was an increasing tendency to like portray them as androgynous or female. But yeah, like in a post-Christian society, and this is from a book I read, but like, yeah, following the theory of feminist thinker Michel Ledoux, that once a category becomes devalued, it starts to be regarded as feminine. So like as angels become less respectable, less powerful, like they're popular, but they don't have the sort of like gravitas, they become feminine.
Sure.
Yeah.
I would also bring up how, I mean, it was such a moral panic, like the feminization of society during the Victorian era. I could just see some, you know, moral guardian man out there being like, and even our angels are turning into women, you know?
Probably.
But it does also make sense, like in both the way you're talking about and in just the way culture was moving toward like slightly more feminine ideals during the Victorian era. So who knows? It's like it's a soup of different factors probably that are
a soup of factors
transitioning our angels. Yeah.
That's right. But I think also too, like they start to become in a way like way more like us, you know, and this is like when we get to the 90s of it all.
Yeah.
You know, the presentation is like they have their own problems. They have bosses, not just gods, but like intermediary angels, and they have project management. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, totally.
Whereas before it's just like, okay, you have the message and like you do the quick thing and you help, like you get in, you get out. It becomes a lot more enmeshed, and like heaven is like an earth mirror. You know, it resembles like the tedium and the dynamics of our lives a lot more in a way that you're like, I don't know, that doesn't sound like fun.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, now that we've kind of given us, or I have given us this foundation of what angels have been and how they've evolved, I think we can safely get to the 90s.
All right.
I'm not trying to say that there aren't like outliers. It's not like, you know, everything just started January 1st, 1991 and like ended, you know, December 31st, 1999. Like there are always outliers. I mean, to answer Kumail Nanjiani's question at the top of the episode in his conversation with Hassan Minhaj, I've always wondered why, like there was this craze. And I have a theory. I don't know if I should talk about the theory now, or we should sort of like walk through the 90s first and then I get to the theory.
Let's go through it.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Let's go through it and then we can do Jerry Springer final thoughts at the end.
Ooh, love it. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So I think like the original first outlier, and again, I think, okay, maybe I started too soon because we have the 90s craze, but I think the real thing that kicked it all off was It's a Wonderful Life, like classic Hollywood film released in 1946, Frank Capra classic.
Yeah.
Because until then, we just didn't really have a sort of hit film where an angel was represented or played such a huge role. You know, it's just like, it was just this iconic film in American culture, American cinematic history.
It's kind of like the first Hallmark movie.
That's a good point. Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah, vibe-wise, you know, story-wise.
Yeah. Like there would not be Hallmark without it, I don't think. Not in this way, no.
Yeah.
What's interesting about It's a Wonderful Life is that it was based on a short story written by a guy who like self-published it, basically. His name was Philip Van Doren Stern. And this short story was called The Greatest Gift. And like, he just sort of published a bunch of copies and like handed it out to people. I mean, he was a pretty well-connected dude. And so like it wound up in the hands of some RCA executive who's like, by Jove or whatever, like, let's make this into a film. Sorry, they're in Los Angeles. I didn't say Joe, but you know what I mean. Whatever people in LA said in 1943. But yeah, so they adapt it into a film, which becomes It's a Wonderful Life. But what I think is interesting about this is that The Greatest Gift, like this short story this guy wrote, is like admittedly loosely based on A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens, which I think says so much, because when I first read this, I was like, holy shit, like what if A Christmas Carol didn't have like ghosts, but they were angels, right? Like it would be kind of a different thing altogether.
It would, but it could save the same, like also have the same function in a lot of ways.
Precisely. And so that's what It's a Wonderful Life does, is it's like, it takes essentially Christmas Carol, shakes it up, turns a little bit of this around, and like
shakes that snow globe.
Puts an angel instead of a ghost in there, you know?
Yeah.
So that sort of like kicks everything off. What I also think is interesting and connects to the 90s as well is that in 1951, we have our first version of Angels in the Outfield. I didn't realize that the 90s version was, a loose remake.
Wow. You never know what's a remake.
I never know either. I'm like the last to know, to be honest.
I know. It's like how when I found out Natalie Imbruglia's Torn was a remake, I was kind of hurt by that.
But I've never heard the original. Like I've never bothered to hear the original. There's no other. Sorry.
Crimson and Clover too. I was like, what? That's not her original. But anyway.
Okay. So Angels in the Outfield original was released in 1951. What I think is really funny about it is that the original is about a young woman reporter who is played by, what's her face? Janet Leigh, Jamie Lee Curtis's mom. And basically it's like this woman reporter is like, you know, covering this baseball team, the Pittsburgh Pirates that have a losing streak because they have this abusive manager. But then the abusive manager begins hearing the voice of an angel who is also a baseball player during his mortal life. Anyway, the point is that it feels like, oh, these are all bits of plot points in movies that we'll see in the 90s, right? Like, you know, you have Field of Dreams, which is like it's baseball themed, and the kind of ghost angel advisor whisper.
I know, we really like sports angel content too.
Right? Which is so weird because, you know, again, sports is so supposed to be like so masculine and like skill. I don't know. It just seems like those things wouldn't go together, but maybe it's like, oh, well, if we have this, you know, by Jove, if we have the sports, we get the men in the seats. And then if we have the angels, we get the women in the seats, and then they both go to the seats, and that's double box office.
That's a good point. I will say, as a former sports gay, when I used to play softball, there was this feeling like if you made an amazing catch, like if you running and if you like dove, or you know, it was like it felt spiritual. Like it did. It felt like I could see that angelic presence just like guiding the ball into the glove.
Yeah. Like getting that stretch.
Like if I were a different person, it's a spiritual feeling. Like for me, sports has a lot of like spiritual elements to it, actually, even though it's often, you know. I
think that's a good thing to add. I think that's a good thing to include. I don't do group sports. I'm like, get me on a yoga mat. I'll go on a run.
Hey, that's good.
You know, go down a ski slope. I learned that recently. But, it's like all solo stuff. So I'm not really feeling that. So thank you.
That's okay. Yeah.
It's good to be reminded people have experiences that are different than mine.
Yeah. And then we also have the angel who used to play baseball coming back to help with baseball. That's a personality that the angel's having too. It's becoming even more human.
Yes.
With the same desires that the person had as a human.
Yes.
I mean, as an angel, because it's also kind of so you were a person and then you became an angel.
And that's a new development too, right?
Yeah, right. It's like a ghost.
That's not in any biblical Quran, no source. There's no you die and become an angel, then come back. That's all very, very modern.
New. Yeah. And that's just combining with ghosts, I guess.
Exactly. And then you just don't really have much for the next 3 decades.
Okay. We just got tired of it, I guess. Yeah.
Maybe some listeners will chime in and be like, but as far as I can, which, I admit maybe I'm not the most comprehensive and there might be some holes, but I wasn't able to find anything.
You're only human.
Really? I'm
me, people. Yes, I miss things.
I miss things. But then in 1985, we get a film called The Heavenly Kid, starring Jane Kazmarek.
Really?
Yeah.
You didn't see her that often. You
didn't see her that often for long. I mean, seriously, people's Hollywood careers are totally nuts. You'll see them in stuff decades before they break out. It's insane.
And then you're like, oh, look, it's like I watched Coyote Ugly the other night with several of my friends. Aww. And suddenly Johnny Knoxville was just there as basically an extra. He had one line and it was right as Jackass was coming out. So he wasn't Johnny Knoxville to the vast majority. And I was just like, oh, there he is. And then also Dee from Always Sunny is in it as almost a child.
Oh my God.
And you're just like, yeah, there you are. There you are. But anyway, that was exciting.
That is exciting. I completely agree. Yeah, Jane Kazmarek is in this Heavenly Kid film.
And that's the mom from Malcolm in the Middle, just for anyone who isn't picturing her.
That's oh yeah, sorry. Also married to Bradley Whitford. I believe they're still married.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, if they're not still married, they were married. I don't know. I'm not trying to value judgment their relationship. Just last I heard they were married. Anyway, yeah. So didn't do particularly well. 123rd worldwide at the box office, but The Heavenly Kid, I'll just do a quick summary. After his death in an accident, Bobby is denied entry into heaven unless he earns enough credit as a guardian angel. His first assignment is a suicidal boy who loves the most beautiful girl in school.
Wow.
So, right? They're just they're us, they're recycled us, and then they have more assignments and bosses and,
Oh my God, that's so interesting. Wow.
Which is not something that you ever really had before.
Yeah. And this idea that you have to earn your way into, it's just, these are all just such completely new ways to think about an angel.
And feels very capitalistic too, or, it just has this right?
It is. It's so capitalistic. Yeah. Totally. You got to earn your tokens.
Yeah. Once you're dead too, it never stops. Then in 1987, you have Wings of Desire. I don't know if you're familiar with this film. It's a Wim Wenders film set in West Berlin. I'd never seen it until I did research for this episode. It's a very beautiful film, but kind of similarly, it's basically what City of Angels is adapted from. So, so City of Angels doesn't come until later. That's 1998. That's the one starring Meg Ryan and Nick Cage. And Nick Cage is the angel Seth, and he comes to Earth and he falls in love with Meg Ryan's character, blah, blah, blah.
Pretty great.
We would not have City of Angels without Wings of Desire. It's adapted from that. But Wings of Desire came first, and that was in 1987. Also in 1987, we have Date with an Angel.
Okay.
This stars Phoebe Cates, one of her earlier roles.
Okay.
So the synopsis is Jim, an aspiring musician, decides to give up his dream and marry a girl from a rich family. However, his life changes when he meets a beautiful angel with a broken wing in his swimming pool. Now, Phoebe Cates is not the beautiful angel. She's the girl from the rich family. The angel is like,
interesting,
sort of like a proto Daryl Hannah in Mermaid, like
Okay.
really beautiful and delicate and blonde and doesn't speak kind of thing. Like I could only watch like 15 minutes of this film before I was like, okay, enough.
Yeah, just sound very good. Yeah.
Bye.
A broken wing in the swimming pool.
Yeah, exactly. But this also didn't do particularly well at the box office either. It's really not until we get the remake of Angels in the Outfield in 1994 where we really have like a breakout hit, like ranked 27 worldwide at the box office and then came in number 4 at the North American box office.
Yeah, I mean, that's a big jump.
It's a big jump, right?
I'm seeing, because I do have your sheet with me as well, but I see the big jump from about 1 million, or like maybe almost 2 million coming in for the box office. And then you get jumps to 50.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's a big jump.
Big money. Isn't it funny? You can see this too, like where it's ranked. Like I like seeing how it performed relative to other movies at the time. Like where was it sandwiched?
Yeah.
And so when it was ranked 27 worldwide, like it was one below Natural Born Killers and one above Little Women, which I think is so funny.
Wow. It's pretty amazing. And they all made very similar amounts. It was like they're really close. That is really funny.
But speaking of like cameos and stuff, that film starred Joseph Gordon-Levitt, like a baby Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Yeah.
It also had Danny Glover, Christopher Lloyd, Tony Danza, Matthew McConaughey.
Wow.
Adrian Brody. Like there are people that would go on to have pretty rockin' careers.
I think about, like, not infrequently, Joseph Gordon-Levitt's extremely sincere and aggressive wings. When he had to do the wings, to signal the angel, he did like the wings motion.
He did.
And he just looks like he's going to cry and he's just so intense. And I just, for some reason, that crosses my mind.
I had not thought about that. I hadn't, because I meant to rewatch it before I came on, but then I didn't and I forgot about that part.
I mean, I haven't watched it in 20 years.
Yeah. But I remember going to see this in theaters and this being like the film that, my mom and my aunt and like, was like acceptable for us to watch. It almost felt like, oh yeah, finally, like our beliefs are going mainstream and they're coming up with, highly produced movies in order to convey it. Like it was like a big deal. Like going to see it in a movie theater.
Yeah, no, I can see why that would be exciting. More after this. And now back to the show.
Then we have another film called Heaven Sent in 1994. Didn't do particularly well, but it did have a young Vincent Kartheiser, who played Pete Campbell in Mad Men.
Great actor, yeah.
Yeah. So young Pete Campbell, the actor's name is Vincent Kartheiser, is in another 1994 film having to do with angels, but it doesn't even break the box office. So I wasn't able to record that. But yet another 1994 angel movie. 95, we have The Prophecy, which is when we start to have angels be like these films start to become a little darker, thrillery, but still involve angels. Christopher Walken, Eric Stoltz, Viggo Mortensen. Then we have The Preacher's Wife in 1996 with Denzel and Whitney Houston.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that reached number 33 at the worldwide box office.
Okay.
And then we also have Michael, which was number 16 worldwide. Do you remember that one?
I remember Michael.
Yeah, they mentioned
John Travolta. Yeah. I mean, when I say I remember it well, I don't. I remember him well and what he looked like in that movie. But I definitely watched that movie like more than a couple times.
Did you? I tried to rewatch it for this episode and like I could not do it. I thought it was so boring, admittedly.
I'm sure it's terrible.
But written and directed by Nora Ephron.
I think it might have been on TV a lot. I'm just not sure. It's not like a movie I think my family would have owned. So I don't know why it looms large. I did love John Travolta.
Yeah, I don't know why either, but it did really loom large. But I think you're right. There's just, I don't know what it was about it. But watching it, I didn't get it. I don't know.
No, I'm sure I wouldn't either.
1997, you get A Life Less Ordinary. Do you remember that one?
No.
Okay, starring Ewan McGregor and Cameron Diaz.
These are big names.
I know.
These are big
It didn't do
movies,
particularly well, which is strange. But yeah, the sort of pairing them up as like sort of these, alternative rom-com opposites, like I guess didn't work out very well.
Yeah.
And then finally we get City of Angels, which I discussed already. Number 18 worldwide at the box office. Pulled in almost like $200 million, so not nothing.
Yeah.
And then 1998, you get Fallen, which is another Denzel Washington angel movie. And then I feel like as far as films go, like the real last hurrah was Dogma.
Right. And it becomes kind of like meta by then.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because in a way, it's like you have Matt Damon and Ben Affleck as these like fallen angels on this,
yeah,
quest. What is it? Aren't they like ejected from paradise and they're like banned to Wisconsin? There's this like loophole, blah, blah, blah. But so, yeah, it has this like a little tongue-in-cheek wink and nod to the sort of, it's like almost spoofing the popularity of the Angels stuff,
It's like the alternative version of Angels. Yeah.
So that's films, I would say. And like, I don't feel like you have a lot film-wise until kind of recently. I don't know. Have you seen Good Fortune? It came out last year.
No.
So that stars Keanu Reeves and Seth Rogen. It was written and directed by Aziz Ansari.
What? Okay. Very interesting.
Yeah,
okay.
I know. But yeah, you have a well-meaning, inept angel meddling in the lives of a struggling gig worker and a venture capitalist.
Right. Yeah. Okay. All right.
So that's where we're at. But again, like from Dogma to this, again, I might be missing something, but at least as far as films go, not so much. You kind of have this gap.
Yeah. We had a real craze, right? In the 90s. Yeah.
We had a real craze in the 90s and then it fell off. And then sort of the same thing with TV, Touched by an Angel ran for 9 seasons.
Which is so wild. Yeah.
Yeah. Like when it was the 9th most watched network series, which occurred for its first 2 seasons, that equaled about 17 million viewers.
Wow. And
that was like 15% of like the audience market share. Like it was just everyone was watching this show. Like again, my mom was obsessed with it.
And it's not like there's a ton of content that really does appeal to, not to say that the left controls the media, but there isn't that much religious content out there. So it feels like it makes sense when there's something like that it really would you'd get a lot of people like the show The Chosen, I feel like is a good example of just like this massive hit that's just about the life of Jesus. And it's going to be a hit because there's not a ton of like mainstream depictions of Christianity.
Yeah, that's true.
So I guess people were ready for Touched by an Angel, which I don't think I ever saw. Whenever I heard the title, I was like, that sounds so fucking boring. Because, I was like, it's got to be Unsolved Mysteries.
Oh,
it's got to be Beyond
so
Belief. It's got to be friggin' Are You Afraid of the Dark? Let's go. But
yeah,
I did catch Seventh Heaven a lot.
I didn't have cable, so I didn't get to watch Seventh Heaven, unfortunately.
Oh, you would have hated it. Anyway. All right.
No, but also I think because angels exist throughout the Abrahamic religions too, like I think there's also just broader appeal, or you can get away with this sense of broader appeal. And like, even though God's involved, I know they're always like a little bit sensitive or delicate about the big man in order to give it broader reach, Sure. It's like, Roma Downey's character, Monica, the angel, isn't like talking to God the boss all the time. She's got a supervisor named Tess, played by Della Reese. You know what I mean? So like
office culture, infiltrating.
Yeah, it's done in this way that it's not like so overtly God, but then like the Christians can get into it.
Right.
And there's like plenty of room for celebrity cameos and stuff.
For sure.
As any successful TV show must do.
Gotta have them.
And then you also remember, and this is interesting, you have Angels in America, right? Like,
oh, right. Yeah.
The HBO adaptation isn't until the early 2000s, but yeah, Angels in America premiered in 1992 in London, and then its Broadway opening was in 1993. and it would go on to win Tony Award for Best Drama and the 1993 Pulitzer Prize for Drama.
And that's like such a departure because it's like allowing angels to be in a space that perhaps they wouldn't otherwise be allowed by culture since, you know, I mean, for anyone who doesn't know, Angels in America is largely about the AIDS epidemic during the Reagan era. So it's like you wouldn't expect anyone to be able to integrate something into what is then considered like one of the worst like sinful lifestyles and like the punishment that you deserve, which is obviously horrifying. But that is kind of like dogma. It's like it's coming over. It's coming over into a different realm of culture.
But it was like very early to do it, right? Like we're talking the early 90s.
Yeah, really early.
Like that he's being subversive about it in this particular way, in this like very, very powerful way culturally.
Yeah.
Oh, and then the last thing, I wanted to investigate music. I didn't really look into books so much beyond like the Joan Wester Anderson kind of it all. I wasn't like, what novels had angel in the title? I don't know. That didn't really, it didn't affect me.
Sure.
But what I did do is I wanted to look and see, because I had this memory that there were like more angel songs or angels in songs and angel music.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I remember the Sarah McLachlan song,
Oh, of course.
Angel. Do you know what I'm talking about? You know that song, right?
Yeah, when we had to watch all of the dogs who aren't being adopted. Yeah, it was a nightmare for all of us. It scarred all of us, and it's been parodied so many times. It's just I feel like it's such a cultural touchstone.
It's a cultural touchstone. Yeah.
Yeah. In the arms of the angel.
In the arms of the angel.
Fly away.
Peaked at number 4 on the U.S. Billboard Hot 100. February 1999.
Which is just the song I want to listen to in the car, you know?
Just the song you want to listen to in the car.
So depressing.
So I wanted to collect some data on this.
Okay, all right.
And so I called up my buddy Drew Mill, who is a professor of data journalism.
Ooh, you found a friend.
Oh yeah, I got friends. I got astrologists. I got data journalists. And yeah, he's at Columbia J School. And I was like, can you help me try and put a chart together? Like, help me find some data and see if there's a there to this like 90s angels thing in music.
Mm-hmm.
And so the best data we were able to come by was available on this site called Music Brains, which is like an open music encyclopedia that collects like music metadata. So we were able to get song titles and essentially see like, are there more songs with angels in the title in the 90s or not?
Right. Yes. Or was it a mirage?
Yeah. Did I just make it up?
Right. No, but I mean, I have the same memory, you know, Shaggy.
Right? Okay. And so this particular data too, since it's all audience submitted, like there's a chance we accounted for the fact that there could be higher numbers of like songs from the 2000s or the 90s than earlier, blah,
sure.
blah. But basically, yeah, we like got 40 million songs from Music Brains. So basically from 1965 to 2026, we plugged it in. And, you know, this is not my language. This is Drummel's language. And I have to be careful here. But to quote Drummel, he goes, I do think there is some signal here.
Okay.
But you can see in the 90s, there's this like sort of pickup and then a perceptible sort of drop after 2000.
Yeah, I see it. There's definitely like we had a craze.
We had a craze.
I think the data proves it. Yeah.
And then, you know, one thing I neglected to mention slightly, I guess, is that in 1993, so this is before the Angels in the Outfield remake of 1994, but like there's this cover of Time magazine where it's like the new age of angels.
Oh yeah.
Subhead, 69% of Americans believe they exist. What in heaven is going on?
69%.
Yeah.
Wow. And I think it makes sense because we're also going into the resurgence of the new age in the 90s. And I feel like, remember those angel cards? Do you remember this?
I don't know. I feel like I grew up in an environment where I was like prevented from exposure to a lot of these
I know.
things.
They would probably still be considered bad. But they were like kind of like tarot cards a little bit. And you could like, I don't remember well enough, you know, I sound off in the comments if you remember angel cards, but they were, you know, a form of divinity, like a form of divining, just like tarot cards were. So it's interesting because it feels like this 69% feels high to me. I mean, also it doesn't, but I think it makes sense that like it is also starting to really divorce itself from Christianity and become a very secular kind of being.
Where, it's like, well, they kind of only do good and they help you out and, like what's not to like?
Yeah. It's very personal. It becomes very like individualistic and like, this is my angel. My angel looks out for me. Like, just doesn't have to be as much of an intermediary for some big God. It's just like, this is a being that can help you through. This is a messenger that can deliver to you what you need to hear at whatever time you hear it.
Yeah. Or your inexplicable helper.
Yeah. Help you get rich quick. I'm sure there was a lot of that.
I'm sure there's some sort of tie-in. Yeah. I'm sure there's a book that exists on that.
It's very 90s as well.
Yeah. I think one thing that I wanted to touch on, and maybe it's also kind of occurred to you, is that I think what's important to discuss a bit is like when we talk about angels and the ancient world, even through the Middle Ages, we had a very different understanding and perception of the heavens and the cosmos, right?
Right. Mm-hmm.
And I mean, at least I would argue, like we'll say in the West, but like different understanding. And angels and God played a role in that too, right? Mm-hmm. This understanding of why things moved, why the sun, the moon, how early humans, antique humans made sense of it as like, oh, well, we have these like celestial beings in the celestial areas making it all work. And I had this like heavenly bodies move in heavenly bodies. Am I right?
There you go.
But as the science evolves, beginning in the 17th century, and you have like the physics of Newton and Descartes, and you have Copernicus, positing and discovering the heliotropic solar system and planets rotating around the sun and the discovery of stars and supernova, et cetera, et cetera. Maybe what we forget a little bit, or maybe we don't realize, is like the attack that is on the role of God and celestial beings in the movement of the heavens, right? Because it's like, well, you're taking that away with this new understanding.
Right. Yeah.
And I got this from a book that I read in preparation, but like to quote Pascal, who's a French mathematician, physicist, philosopher, the eternal silence of these infinite spaces fills me with dread.
Whoa, cool. Same.
So like space had a lot of space now, and like, who was controlling it and how? Yeah. Right? It's a different feeling.
I'm famously afraid of space. Yeah.
It's a different vibe.
Yeah.
And then what did we fill it with, Chelsey?
Angels?
Oh, I did it again. I asked you. No, like aliens, extraterrestrials.
Aliens, of course. Yeah. Ancient aliens, ancient angels.
Yeah.
Yes. This is so interesting. Is that crossover that like, we're angels of the Bible, just aliens, et cetera, et cetera. I love that stuff. I don't believe it or disbelieve it. I just think it's interesting. Yeah.
I mean, I think back to the whole 90s angels craze, like we also very much had like an alien thing happening too. Like it wasn't just
absolutely
ghosts,
X-Files.
But it was like this nice trifecta of like, okay, pick what do you want? You want an angel? You want an alien? You want a ghost?
Tailor-made for each different kind of culture you might be a part of.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. We just need things up there.
Yeah. But like part of the argument or like the theory is that like our fascination with aliens, at least on some level, comes from this desire to satisfy this nostalgia and need that we have for angels or some, kind of like.
Right. Yeah, like something that explains to us this infinity that we are in, that we are always trying to cope with. And it's so comforting. Mm-hmm. I mean, I think It's even comforting to believe in aliens, not for me, because again, famously, I'm very scared of aliens and space. But, I think ghosts are very comforting to me, right? It's like they're having this intermediary that can explain our, the unexplainable possible situation that we're in as humans that know nothing really at all about the greater reality of all these universes and shit. Yeah. So it makes sense that we want something.
Totally. And just like how lonely, like incredibly lonely, like it's like incomprehensibly lonely.
Yeah, absolutely beyond comprehension. So it does make sense. We're just like, we need pals. We need little pals that come down and they're like, there's some organization, like there's meaning, and aliens do give us that in their special way. And angels obviously certainly give people that.
Yeah.
And ghosts in their way too.
I don't know if this is a segue or not, but want to hear my theory as to the angels' craze of it all?
Yeah, of course. Yes.
Okay. My theory is that it begins with the end of the Cold War.
Okay.
And my theory is that the Cold War offered us this global bipolarity that in a way mirrors the good, evil, heaven and hell. And I think that that helps us in some way make sense of the world when it's like, there's this and there's that, there's like good and there's bad, whichever side you're on, right?
Like very black and white. Yeah.
It's very black and white. And you can kind of okay, this world makes sense to me.
Yes.
With the end of the Cold War, 89, we are ushered into the 90s with a unipolar, US is number one.
Sure.
If we're good and there's no, who, do we have an enemy? What does it mean? What should we do now?
Who are we doing it versus? Yeah.
Who are we doing it? And I just feel like, even though it was quote unquote, I'm not saying there weren't any conflicts in the world, obviously, but I think in a way there was this feeling of being kind of lost. There wasn't this sort of
a definitive external villain or dark force or something like that. Is that kind of what you mean? We didn't have something to measure our own goodness against. Yeah.
I think we're a little lost in that way.
Yeah. We got really into the environment. That was nice.
For a while.
In the 90s.
I know. Recycle, reduce, reuse.
I know.
Captain Planet.
That's another episode we should do. Yeah.
Oh, yes. But yeah, I think guides and messengers and intermediaries to just sort of help us make sense of that new political and ideological landscape was helpful.
That's interesting. Yeah.
I feel like there was a desire for that reason.
Yeah.
And I think that's also why it ran its course in the early 2000s, because it correlates directly with September 11th, 2001, where then we had that again. And it's okay, now we have Al-Qaeda. I'm not trying to say that fully in an American sense, but I mean, we had NATO allies getting involved, right? It was a big global event, even though there were plenty of people that protested against it. It still marked the end of an era in which there weren't, major global powers or entities at odds with each other on the global, you know what I mean? So we kind of get back to this sort of bipolarity, global bipolarity again.
Right.
And so that's kind of my theory there.
That's very interesting.
So it's okay, well, we don't need the intermediary messengers. This is the status that I understand. And I know what I need to, I don't have to work that hard to make sense of it or my place in it. I know it's good and I know it's bad and I can kind of assign myself a spot. But when you don't really have that, it's come on down, help me out, tell me what to do.
And there's a little more space in the American imaginary for things that were more personal and more based on the self. I think we had a very big resurgence of self-focus in the 90s. And that probably mirrors in some way what you're talking about. We had again, the revival of the New Age, the revival of we look, and that affected Christianity too. I mean, these things are melding, right? Yeah. And it's we have this very strong desire to look within, understand the self. And I think angels are a big part of how you integrate the kind of great beyondness of it all, or God or whatever, into the self, because you have this guardian angel, you have this like personalized thing that then can act on your behalf or can deliver you messages. And I think that what you're saying absolutely makes sense, that we're not like defining ourselves against something outside. But then what is so interesting is that the 90s was also such the height of the satanic panic in a lot of ways. So we have these two, like, we have like this supernatural villain craze. There's this like evil possession, this like satanic cult, mystical villain inside, domestic villain. And then we have this like domestic helper that is coming to us at the same time.
But maybe that's the desire to recreate the binary of like, you know what I mean? Like,
totally.
It's like if you don't have it, then you have to manufacture it because it's what you can understand. It's just simple enough. It's like, I know I align myself with this or, you know, and when we get outside of that, then if we don't have it, we don't know what to do, or we just manufacture it ourselves. We recreate it.
Yeah. It's nuance is not part of like the human instinct, I don't think. I think we have to really work at that. It's like a muscle. But yeah, generally speaking, we're looking for that outsider. We're looking for that thing to define ourselves against and to kind of fight against and to project onto. Perhaps we get into Carl Jung and say we are casting our own shadow upon the person that we're defining as a villain.
No, yeah, but no, angel is like ultimate projection, I think. I think that's a great way of thinking about it.
I think we figured it out.
Snap.
I think like click, we did it. This was so great. This was so interesting. And of course, I knew you would bring us the wisdom of the ancients as you do. And I love that.
Thanks, Chelsey.
Because we don't always do that on the show, right? We don't always go back into the biblical era.
You don't always go back to 3000 BC.
But I like it because, again, I am reading the Bible.
Yay! This is really fun too. Oh my God.
Yeah, I love this. So thank you so much, Christine.
Thank you.
May the angels lead you home in the arms of on the angel wings of your back, or whatever weirdest thing I said in the beginning. All right. We'll have you on again soon, Christine. Thank you.
Oh, thanks, Chelsey. Bye.
This was American Hysteria. Make sure you listen to Christine's podcast, T&J, a Roman Empire love story, wherever you get your podcasts, as well as the very rad original T&J podcast soundtrack, written and performed by Christine, wherever you get your music. All the links are in the episode notes. If you love American Hysteria and want to support the show and get ad-free episodes and bonus content, you can become a patron at patreon.com/American Hysteria or by subscribing on Apple Plus. You'll get access to Hysteria Home Companion, another podcast that I do with our producer Miranda, where we tell you stories related to the topics that we cover and stories that we just know that you'll love. We've got a huge back catalog, so as soon as you sign up, you will have countless hours of the content that we give you here on the show. That's patreon.com/American Hysteria or subscribe on Apple Plus. If you're feeling generous, another really simple and free way to help out the show is to leave us a 5-star review on whatever app you use. If you go to AmericanHysteria.com, you can pick up some of our merch. 100% of those profits go to the Samir Project in Gaza, a Palestinian-led mutual aid group. You can also leave us a message on the Urban Legends hotline about a tale that you remember from growing up or one you've heard recently, and we might do an entire investigation about it. American Hysteria's producer and editor is Miranda Zickler. Our associate producer is Riley Swedelius-Smith. This episode has additional editing by AJ McKinley, and I'm your host, Chelsey Weber-Smith. Thanks, as always, for listening, and I hope you have a great week.